Welcome to Liberty Free to Be, the podcast that celebrates women finding their voice, their confidence, and their own version of freedom. I'm your host, Rachel Peru, speaker, model, storyteller, and a champion of showing up as your most unapologetic self. Each episode, I sit down with incredible women who share the real, powerful, sometimes messy stories that shaped who we are today. So settle in. This is your reminder that you are free to grow, free to change, and free to be fully, fabulously you. So welcome back to the first full episode, back to Liberty Free to Be podcast. And I am so excited to be back. I have missed all these conversations, all the amazing women that I've been wanting to meet and talk to. I get the opportunity to do that now and share it with you. So thank you for joining me again and for sticking with me whilst I took a short break. But there's another 140 episodes for you to catch on if you haven't already caught up with that. But I am back with a new series and I am kickstarting it off with one of my favourite women that I feel like I have known for a long time. We've never met on Instagram, and that is Alexandra Leigh. And I am so excited to talk to Alexandra. So Alex is a former international model turned sleep coach. I definitely need to talk to you about that. But fitness advocate and wellness mentor. She's been in the industry since a very young age. We've got lots to talk about, lots in common, and I cannot wait to introduce her to you. So hello, Alex.
Rachel, I didn't realise that I'm the very first back after your break. I'm so honoured.
Yes, yeah. This time round, I just wanted to fill it with all the fabulous women that have been following me, that have inspired me along the way, and you are definitely top of the list. So I'm so excited that we finally, before we went live, I was saying I feel like I've known you for ages and we've never met. So
same.
So thank you so much for joining me, Alex. How are you doing?
I am doing amazing. Do you know what? It's probably the best I've felt in January ever, to be honest.
Amazing.
So yeah, it's nice starting the year feeling fresh and ready to go.
And
how are you?
Back in Greece now, aren't you?
I'm back in Greece. Yeah, I came back home to Manchester for Christmas for the first time in about 6 years. And it was so good to be home. There really is no place like home.
No, there isn't.
But after 2.5 weeks of like freezing cold and grey, I was ready to come back here. So yeah, happy to be back.
How long have you been in Greece?
Been in Greece almost 7 years now, which has just gone in the blink of an eye. I can't believe that it's been that long. But also at the same time, it really feels like home here. So, it's one of them. Like, I can't imagine not living here now. I love living here because obviously I miss my daughter mainly, but all my family. I miss my friends. I miss Tesco's. I miss Boots. I miss the food at Marks and Spencer's. But the reason why I love living here is I feel as though people actually live here. Like people work to live. I feel as though back home, everybody's just on this hamster wheel of grind and everybody like lives to work. And here it's just not like that. It's so much more relaxed. In fact, I've just moved and I realized that I haven't got the TV working. I've been here about maybe 2 months. I've still not got the TV working because we just don't watch TV.
Yeah.
Like you finish work, you go and meet your friends for coffee. We walk to the beach. We live right next to a really big park here. And they've got it right, the Greeks, how to live.
Yeah.
So
amazing. Well, hopefully I will. Yes, I will. Hopefully, well, I will be. I shall see you next week when I'm working there. So excited. Can't wait. I mean, part of this journey for you is you actually kind of struggled with burnout, which is what kind of prompted all this kind of lifestyle change. So when you first started your career as a model, you were really quite young, weren't you? Am I right in thinking you were 15, 16 when you first started?
I was. That's exactly right. So I got when I was. I'm 6'2", and I've been this height since I was 12, which, as you can imagine, was horrendous. Because when you're 12, you just want to be the same as everybody else, and So I was like really bullied a lot. I went to school in Mallorca when I was 10 till I was 12. I got really badly bullied there. Came back to Manchester, went to an all girls school, and then I was a real swot, a real geek to start off with. And then I realized that my height, I could use it to my advantage when I discovered nightclubs and boys and partying. So I was going to the Hacienda at like 14. The Hacienda is like this iconic Manchester club that closed down, I think, when I was about 16,
Mhm.
but I managed to have 2 years there. And then when I was 14, my brother's friend took me to a model agency in Manchester, because he was like, "Oh, I've seen the models. They're all really skinny and really tall." Yeah, I'm definitely was. I wouldn't have called myself attractive at any by any stretch of the imagination. Then I had the train track teeth. I had, acne. I was really stick thin, but I went because I was so tall and I was so clumsy. Nobody else knew what the bloody hell to do with me, and they invited me to go to London to try out for a few weeks when I was 16. So when I left school at 16, I went straight to London, supposedly for a few weeks, and then never went back. Yeah. And in hindsight, it was far too young. It
Yeah.
was far too young to go. But bless my mom. When she was 16, she got asked by, I can't remember the name of the agency. It was like a famous agency in those times. And in those days, they took on about 5 models a year, and she was going to be one of the selected ones. But my grandparents wouldn't let her do it. They made her work in their shop. So she spent her whole life thinking, what if, what if?
Mm.
And so she didn't want to deny me that. And, she thought that I was very sensible. She didn't
Little
know
did you
how
know.
wild I was, thank God. And so I went down there, and yeah, it was a double-edged sword. I mean, it was I had an amazing time. I had an amazing career. I did things, went places that most people could never dream of going or doing in a million years.
I mean, you were working with
But
the top brands. You were working with some amazing brands where you've been in Vogue, you've been shot by some of the most incredible photographers. You really were at the top of your game, weren't you, from a young age?
I was really, really lucky, really lucky. I worked with Rankin, with David Bailey, with David LaChapelle. Yeah, I did Vogue, I did Elle, I did all, London Fashion Week, Paris, New York. I did it all. And it actually it doesn't even feel like it's me anymore. I feel as though I've lived about 5 different lifetimes, and that was just one era. It just doesn't feel like me anymore, but it was. And I have to remind myself I can be proud of that.
Absolutely.
And yeah, and I because sometimes I feel as though I feel a bit cringe talking about it and like I'm showing off, but I'm teaching myself to own it and to be proud of it. And yeah, I mean, it was incredible. But as with everything, that sounds and too good to be true, it normally is. And that there was definitely a dark side. There was
Yeah.
definitely a dark side to it, which I mean, in the 90s, they could get away with it a lot more. I mean, the way that we were treated in the 90s and the way that we were spoken to and the way how ruthless it was. I mean, we were literally treated like we were slabs of meat. I mean, they wouldn't be able to get away with it now. I mean, I can remember being flown home. It happened probably about 4 times, turning up to a job, them looking at me saying, "Oh no, you're too fat.
Oh my
Send you
God.
home." Literally to my face. and would send me. I mean, can you imagine
No.
what that does to a teenager's
Yeah.
confidence?
Yeah.
And then there'd be other times where I can remember so many times I'd be on set and then I'd see the client looking at me and then I'd see them go and get the phone and then I'd hear them saying, yeah, well, she's not as toned as you said that she was going to be. And, I think it's going to be, and it was just horrific. It was horrific. And looking back, because I was actually, you wouldn't believe that at the same time as this me being told how fat I was, how out of shape I was also one of the world's highest paid swimwear and
Yeah.
lingerie models.
Yeah.
So I couldn't have been that fat and out
No.
of shape. I
Number
got booked time
46
and
in
time
the
again.
number 46 in the FHM sexiest woman. You
Oh, I
know.
like it. You've done your
Yeah.
homework,
You know.
Rachel.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, I was. But, I never celebrated because all you were told was the negative stuff. Nobody ever said, "Oh my God, you look at me." They'd say, "Oh no, look at that." I mean, I can remember because I became good friends with one of the clients from a big department store. Not sure whether I can say the name, but she was a big client, and she used to book all the models. And she told me that I did a big lingerie campaign for this store, and apparently they had had an hour's board meeting with like 10 people all sat there discussing whether they could use me or not because of the dimple on my chin.
My goodness me.
Yeah, I mean that's how ridiculous
Yeah.
it was. And
Wow.
so you just scrutinized all the time. And then, years later, I wondered why I was so messed up in the head. I mean,
Yeah,
it's no,
I was going to
yeah,
say, looking back now, what impact that must have had on you, to grow up and to turn into a woman from
yeah.
from a teenager to a woman, essentially, in that industry. That must have played a big part in how you felt about yourself afterwards.
To be honest with you, it definitely psychologically scarred me,
Mm,
and I'm only just unpicking and unraveling all of these layers that I've lived with for so many years and never fully understood. So my journey, so you know that it'll be 3 years in March I gave up drinking. And during those 3 years I have done so much work on myself to understand, you know, why I had such a self-destruct button, why my mind worked the way that it did. And then when I go back and it's really good for me to do podcasts like this actually, because it's kind of a bit like therapy, because I suddenly I'm talking about it, and then things like fall into, and I think, oh my God, of course, no wonder,
yes. Yeah.
I've always had a real thing about cellulite. Like, I'm really obsessed with it. And I think I see young girls now on the beach, with their bums out, wearing the G-strings.
Yeah.
And I look at them in awe and I just think, wow, I am so happy to see these young girls have such
Yeah.
confidence
Yeah.
to just strut down the beach in a G-string like that in front of everyone. And they're everywhere. Whereas me, I was literally one of the highest paid lingerie and swimwear models in the world, but I wouldn't let anybody see me without. I would cover myself with. Remember, everybody used to wear pashminas then, and
Yes.
I used to take a pashmina on set, take it off, and then wrap it around me so that nobody saw my wobbly bits or my cellulite, because I was that paranoid. And when I look back now, I mean, I must have needed a microscope to
Yeah.
see it,
Yeah.
but it was all in my head. I mean, I was disgusting in my head because, it was just such a thing. I've been told time and time again, you're too out of shape, you're too untoned, you've got to do this, you've got to do that. And so I became obsessed with it. And I can remember, um like it sounds so bizarre because there's just these parallel lines that are like, I'm so successful, but I'm so insecure.
Yes.
And like I was literally on a plane every day. I was always somewhere amazing doing a shoot. And but I couldn't ever fully enjoy it because I would arrive there and I would think, oh my God, are they going to send me home? Am I too fat? Am I? And then I'd not sleep, and then I'd look in the mirror, and in a lot of hotels they have that strip lighting, and I
Yeah.
would stand there and get my thighs and like look at my cellulite and think and just be filled with hatred, and it just breaks my heart, Rachel. It really, really, really breaks my heart because, you know, especially now that I've got kids that are the age that I was then,
Yeah.
and think of them just crucifying themselves for the way they look. When, I mean, everybody's beautiful, no matter what your shape or size. But I mean, I was literally crucifying myself for something that didn't even
Yeah.
exist. It didn't even exist.
And
And I was still crucifying myself.
it's such a great reminder to everybody as well, because women will have looked at you through that time and thought, wow, I would give anything for, to be Alex, and her body's amazing, she's amazing, and without even really thinking about what you're going through and how you feel, and just assuming that you've got it all cracked.
Exactly. You never, ever, ever know what anybody is truly thinking. And, you know, to the outside world, I'm definitely built up my confidence a lot over the years. That took a lot of acting, until I became it. I remember my first ever casting. I was so shy. I couldn't even ring the doorbell. I would had to wait
Oh,
for somebody to come out. I was petrified. I wouldn't say boo to a goose. And it took me a long time to build my confidence up. I used to do commercial casting after commercial casting, and you know what commercial castings are like. So a normal casting, you go in with your portfolio, you sit down face to face with either the client or the photographer, they look through your portfolio, you have a little chat. That's daunting enough when you're 16. But a commercial casting is a whole different
you
ball
have no
game, as
idea
you
what they're going
know.
to ask you to do.
You have no idea what they're going to ask you to do. And it usually involves some kind of role play where you have to pretend that you're, making lunch in the kitchen, in the non-existent kitchen. And, I just felt it. Just the amount of times I would just stand there and freeze, and they'd be like, oh, thanks, but no
Yeah,
thanks.
yeah.
Bye. And then I realized that if I was going to get anywhere, I had to put on this facade, and I had to, get over myself. And then I slowly started to become more how I am now. And so that made everybody think that, I had it all, that I was so confident. And it was only the people closest to me that really ever got to see the other side. And that is another big part of my healing journey because I spent years and years taking all my frustrations out on the people closest to me. So all the world that I didn't really care about
Mm.
got the amazing happy me. And then the people that I really, really loved and really cared about got the awful side of me. Um, because I felt was just putting on this app all the time, and it's exhausting just pretending to be somebody else all the time. And so when I could finally be myself, I'd let everything out and then push them away. And so that's been another big, big part of the work that I've been doing on myself. And
So do you feel like you are
yeah,
more you now than you ever have been?
100%, 100%. Um, For many years, I allowed life to happen to me. I wasn't in the driving seat. It never occurred to me that I could decide my next direction. I was plunked from, I was a schoolgirl, and then I was, you know, cocaine, champagne, A-list events. And then I had this whirlwind of a career that just was like 0 to 100 straight away. And I was flying here, flying there, flying. And so I never stopped to think, am I enjoying this? Is this what I want? I lived my whole life just, and then straight away from there, I met my ex-husband and got married and had a baby. And then that was all, obviously having a new baby, and just everything happened one after the other, the other after the other. And I never, ever, it's only literally the past 3 years that I've sat down and got to know me and got to know what I like.
Yeah.
Like, for years, I thought that I was never an outdoors person. Outdoors people are really boring. That's definitely not me. I love the outdoors. I love going on hikes, paddle boarding, trying new things, going on adventures. Like, I spent all my life thinking that I didn't enjoy that. I always thought that I was a night owl. I thought that, I was a nighttime person. Mornings weren't for me. I am the biggest early bird. I get up at 5:30 every day. I love early mornings. I just and then also just unpacking my very complicated brain that for years and years and years I used alcohol as a coping mechanism to quieten down the noise, because I mean that's another thing. I'm pretty sure that I've got ADHD along with millions of other of us
Yeah.
women, like so many of
Yeah.
us realize now, oh, actually that makes sense. So yeah, my brain's always been
Mm.
here, there, and everywhere, and and then I used to overthink everything, and I would either be as high as a kite or literally on the floor, suicidal, no middle ground. And then I used to have all these issues swirling around in my brain, and the only way that I could quieten the noise was through alcohol, and that was my escape for all my adult life, actually. Well, I mean, not even my adult life. From being a teen, I first discovered alcohol, like I say, when I was going to the hacienda at like 14,
Yeah.
and that took a lot of unraveling, a lot, because I had never ever faced any of my issues, my problems. I just used to run, 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 run. As soon as anything that I didn't want to feel, I just that was how I dealt with it. And yeah, it's been a big, big journey. Um and weirdly, so you would think that um the wildlife that I had in the 90s, obviously it was very debauched.
Yes.
I suffered 20 odd years with extreme mental health issues, and never put two and two together that maybe the alcohol and the drugs weren't helping. As far as I was concerned, that was the only thing that was helping
Yeah.
me. That was the only way that I could get through anything. And anyway, fast forward um, a very bumpy life, mental health wise, alcohol wise. But what really, really was the downfall of me alcohol wise wasn't any of that. It was the mummy needs wine culture.
Yes. Yeah.
Uh, so, it surprises a lot of people that, because they think that, oh, it would have been the hedonistic 90s that I gave up. No, it was then. And it slowly crept up on me. I mean, um, it's like a silent assassin, alcoholism, in a lot of women in their mid-40s. It happens honestly since I started talking about it openly and honestly, Rachel, you wouldn't believe the amount of messages I get every day from women feeling exactly the same as I felt, just feeling lost, feeling stuck, feeling that they've lost their sense of identity because you give up, you're working, and then a lot of us have children, and then a lot of us give up what we're doing to raise the children, and then finally when the children are older, you're like, well, who am I
Yes.
now? And then we're all having a glass of wine when we cook, and then
Well, yeah, they
one
made
glass
this.
of wine turns into
Yeah, they made this
turns
culture,
turns
didn't they?
into two glasses of wine, and then I was having two bottles of wine a night easily. That was just normal, and it got to the point where I would have to, you know, hide my bottles and hide the rubbish to stop it clinking, and go to different shops so they didn't think that I was buying too much wine. And it was such a dark time, such a dark time. And I'm really passionate about being open and honest about it because I don't like, I want to help. When you come out the other side and you like, I genuinely thought the best years of my life were over. I've been so conditioned to think that the peak of your life is in your early 20s, and after that you're forgotten about. You're on the shelf, you're used, expired, and that had been drilled into me, and I genuinely believed that, and I genuinely lost my lust for life, lost my confidence, and then I used to drag myself round through every single day, exhausted, no motivation, no energy. And I just put that down to being old. I just put that down to, oh, well, I've got to accept it. I'm old now, that's it. And now that I see I've got more energy now, I'm 47 years old.
You
I
never
feel
stop.
younger, fitter.
Yeah,
Yeah, and like you, I want to share that with the world, with as many women as possible. I mean, I love what you do, Rachel. I look at you in awe. Like I'm just so proud of you for being such on the forefront of changing things and changing how women feel about themselves and showing them that God, life, it's just I feel as though I've got a second chance at life. I feel as though my life is literally just starting again. And far from it being over, this is probably one of the best eras of my life
I love that.
because, oh, thank you. Well, I appreciate everything so much more as well. When I was younger, I had all of that, but I never appreciated it. A, because I was too busy crucifying myself, but B, I just thought that these luxury destinations, all this money, living I just thought that that was it. That was my life, and boy, was I humbled when I lost everything. That's another part of my story. I went from having 9 houses, a driver, never looking at the price of anything, to having to move back in with my mum with a 3-year-old. And, but they're all lessons. Life has a way of humbling us and teaching us. And I think that when you get to our stage of life, now we can reap the rewards and use all of that knowledge that we've gained. And,
Yeah, I think you're very brave. I really thank you for sharing that because I think you're really brave because again, it's one of those issues that has such a stigma for women, particularly around drinking and alcoholism and excessive behaviours, and it carries such a weight of shame around people that we don't talk about it, and it needs to be talking about because there'll be women sat here listening to this thinking, "Oh my God, yes, I can see bits of me like that. I've been feeling like that," and it's we just need to talk about it to make these changes.
there's, there was, it did, there was such shame attached to my drinking, and I'm only just forgiving myself now, because I still, up until recently, used to have sleepless nights about my behavior sometimes. And but I can't, that happened. That's part of my story. And I'm no different to anybody else. I'm human. You only know what and um like I'm prepared to put my shame out there if it makes somebody else feel as though, they can forgive themselves too, because, you know, none of us are perfect. None of us, we're all learning every single day. We're all learning. And um I think also, especially a lot of us from our age range as well. I mean, I'm so happy to see that things are changing also alcohol wise.
Yes.
I mean, I don't know about your
Well,
kids,
yeah,
but my
they
daughter,
don't really drink. My youngest is 22, 23. She occasionally drinks, but she's much more into her health and fitness than I ever was. And it's interesting because,
isn't it
yeah, it
amazing?
is. I love it. And when I look back now, I definitely turned to alcohol to get through parents' divorces and my own divorce and all that kind of stuff. I spent a couple of years really drinking way too much. And it's hindsight's a wonderful thing, isn't it? But I've now got to the place where last year I can count on one hand how many drinks I had, and this year I probably won't drink at all. And I don't miss it at all. But it's interesting that
No.
other people's reaction. I'm interested to find out what the people around you and the people that you socialized with, how did they react to the non-drinking Alex? Because I found that people do struggle with it when you suddenly stop
Mm,
drinking, because they assume that you're not the same person, you're not going to be fun Alex anymore, but actually you are, and actually you're better because you're in control of what you're doing.
exactly. Oh, it took me so long to give up because I was convinced. I mean, we've all been conditioned to believe that the only way to have fun is by getting completely shit faced. And it's just not true. And I mean, I was so scared to give up. I just thought that RIP, the end of the fun Alex Leigh. Because I mean, I had literally, what my whole persona was Alex Leigh, the party girl. Oh, the fun starts when Alex arrives. And I just thought, well, who am I if I don't drink? You know, who am I going to be? And I was so scared. And it turns out that I'm way more fun without it, because for a start, I am naught to 100. Like I look at people, normal drinkers that can sit there with a glass of wine all night. They could sit there with a glass of wine all night. And I just think to myself, how is it, like, if it's there in front of me, it's gone. I would just neck it. And I would have a bottle of wine before I even left the house on a night out, and arrive merry. And but the thing is, I would always, if I wasn't doing drugs, then I would peak too soon and then end up either asleep or gone home, because I couldn't hack it. I'm so much more fun without it. And also, what is fun about lying on the sofa all day, nursing a
Nothing.
hangover, feeling like absolute
Yeah.
shit? There's nothing fun about that.
No. Wasted
There's
hours.
maybe like, yeah, there's maybe like half an hour during a big wild night out that's peak fun. Whereas my whole life now is is fun. There's like a half hour where I'm just sat down for a bit now. It's the opposite way
Yeah.
round. And uh thankfully, my social circle here, initially it was revolved around drink. And I have lost a lot of friends along the way. That's a natural part of it, because it's like holding a mirror up to themselves,
Yeah.
that when you stop drinking, they realize that, oh, maybe it's kind of time for them to put the bottle down, but they don't want to admit that. So, and my social circle now, my social life is the gym.
Yes. It's all
You know,
based around your
I have,
health, isn't it? Yeah.
yeah, I have so many friends that just want to make the best of themselves, want to be the best versions of themselves. And, I still go out dancing. We love music, we love going clubbing, but we just don't need to get drunk out of our minds to enjoy it. We can just dance all night on the pure energy of the room. And we go, like, we're going on a girls trip next weekend to Istanbul for somebody's birthday, and like, I have an amazing social life now, and none of it involves alcohol. And if you'd have said that to me 3 years ago, I would never have believed you, because I couldn't even meet somebody for a coffee without it ending up at 6 o'clock in the morning dancing on tables somewhere. Like, it was always, just turned into a bender. And I couldn't be further from that person now. And it's amazing. Like, I I still have some affection for her, but I wouldn't want her to be my friend
No.
now. Definitely not.
And I think I've heard you say at some point that actually you wouldn't change anything though, because it's helped make you who you are, and it's helped you get to where you are now.
Exactly. It has. And I'm I really feel as though I was made to go through all of that because I want to spread the message and help women, because Um, it's just I feel as though it's like a massive pandemic of our age group of women who just feel shit about themselves. They feel so shit, and you're doing what you were called to do, and I feel as though, I've been through all of that to do what I was called to do too, because somebody's got to help them see the light. And you can only do that if you've been through it yourself.
And you are
You
now
know,
helping so many women with their, not just their health, their mental well-being, their nutrition, everything that means that they're looking after their bodies and being the best versions of themselves. And one thing that I always think about is when I talk about body confidence, people all say, yeah, but you know, you're 100% all right all the time and you feel fantastic and lucky for you, you found body confidence. But it's not something that you don't have to work on, is it? You're always having to work on yourself.
of course, of course. Every single day I'm learning, and it's one step forward, then two steps
Mm.
back some days, and it's never a straight road. I would never profess to be an authority on any of it, because it's a learning journey and it's a healing journey. And I think until the day that we die we'll still be learning, because it's just, you don't ever arrive there. It's a constant work in progress, and with things such as with such complicated feelings and emotions that are involved. You've never fully arrived, and you have good days and bad days. And you know even that I've not drank for 3 years, and I mean, I can count on one hand during the 3 years how many times I've really wanted to drink. But I'm sure there will be days that come ahead and I really, really want to drink. And I'm sure there's days that you look in the mirror and you don't like what you
Yeah.
see, because we're both human. Even though we try and our best to inspire other women, we're still going through the issues as we
Exactly.
teach and as we talk about it.
Yeah.
And so but that is part of it. But like, I've realized that for me, so I talked about before how I struggled with mental health all my adult life. And so just before I gave up drinking, so I was diagnosed with a thing called cyclothymia. So it's kind of a form of bipolar where your feelings go round in circles. So you feel okay, and then you feel terrible, like on the floor depressed. And then you feel okay again. And then you feel as high as a kite. And then you feel okay. And it goes round like this. And so for years and years and years, I used to have um like an episode where I don't know if you've ever suffered with a mental health episode where literally it feels as though you cannot even get out of
Yeah.
bed. You know, everything feels so dark, so heavy, and you struggle to do anything. And so I used to have depressive episodes like that, probably every 2 months or so, then maybe once a month. Towards the end of my drinking career, the episodes got closer and closer together, and then they went from twice every 2 months to every month, and then it was every 3 weeks, and then it was every two, and then just before I was giving up drinking, there were days apart, my episodes, where I was literally on the floor, depressed,
Mm.
not knowing what to do with myself, thinking the most horrendous dark thoughts. Anyway, since the 3 years of work that I've done on myself, I mean, obviously, I trained to be a sleep coach,
Yes.
and I realize now that sleep is the foundation to everything,
Mm.
to everything.
We
You
need to
can't
talk about that.
succeed in any area of your life without sleep. And yeah, I'm really want to help you, Rachel. Like it's so important, and the more you look into it, the more you see how important it is, but also the more you see how we've all been taught so wrong. It's not something you force, it's something that you allow. And the only way that you can possibly sleep is by forgiving yourself, is by having a calm nervous system. You know, all of it is part of the jigsaw puzzle. And so all the foundations, you know, I learned how to sleep well. I learned, and I learned how to regulate my nervous system. I learned about diet, about exercise. And with all of these foundations that I have in place now, I couldn't tell you the last time I had an episode with my mental health. I don't know. I It's been that long.
Yeah.
And it just makes me so cross that I spent so many years and so suffered for so long, and not once did a psychiatrist, did a doctor, did any of the mental health team that I saw regularly, did any of them say to me, have you thought about giving up drinking?
Mm.
What do you eat? Do you exercise? How do you sleep? Do you go outside? Do you go in nature? None of them asked me any of that. I mean, things are changing now.
Yes.
Um, Things are changing now, thankfully.
Like you say, times are changing. I mean, I know, like, even now, is it Denmark or one of the Scandinavian countries is actually prescribing being outdoors in nature and visiting their country as part of the mental wellbeing package for the health service, which is amazing. We've
I
come a
just
long way.
love that. I just love
I'm
that. I
sure
think
it's
it's fun.
Norway.
Yeah, I've heard the same.
So sleep. I can fall asleep really quickly. And the minute I am going through the menopause, but the minute I wake up, my brain goes into override. And I can literally sometimes be asleep awake for hours in the night. And I know there'll be lots of other people that can relate to that. Any tips and advice on how you can break the cycle so that you have a better night's sleep, a better quality night's sleep?
Oh, do you know what? I would love it if I could say that there's a one size fits all cure to sleep. Um, there isn't, but there are lots of things that you can do. I mean, obviously, sleep and menopause is a massive issue for so many women, but there's definitely a lot you can do. And number one is, like I keep going on about calming your nervous system. And so just recently, you know, so for many years, we used to walk to the shop, or we used to stand in a queue at a shop. And so we used to allow our brains to mull over things. And so where we're stood in the queue in the shop, we would come up with a solution to something without even realizing it. But now we're constantly on our devices. We're either texting, we're listening, we never give ourselves that time. We never allow ourselves a brain dump. And so the number one thing that I say to everyone, and then when's the time that we do give ourselves that time? Oh, when we're lying in bed at night trying to get to sleep. So I suggest to lots of women to give yourself a worry time. It sounds ridiculous, but give yourselves 10 minutes in the day, set aside, and just have 10 minutes where you write down all your worries, where you have a walk, you think about things, you try and come up with solutions so that you're not carrying that with you when you go to bed at night. That's a big thing for me. Obviously, there's all the getting some daylight as soon as you open your eyes to reset your circadian rhythm. Then, having the bedroom at the right temperature is essential for menopausal women, because we get so hot at night. So it should be around 20 degrees, your room. It should be a lot colder than you actually think. A lot of us have the heating on full blast, because it's cold outside, but your body needs to be cool in order to get and to stay asleep. Only wear things like cotton nightwear and things so that you can sweat and nylon's not gonna stick to you and things. Use natural fabrics. Please, the main thing that I want all of you to consider is a regular sleep and wake time. And it sounds boring and nobody wants to hear this. And everybody comes to me and they say, I've tried everything. Have you really tried it? Have you really had a consistent sleep and wake time? Because most of us don't.
No.
Most of us, we go to bed exhausted during the week, and then at weekends we lie in till as late as possible, go to bed as late as possible, and it just messes up your system. Our bodies thrive on routine. They thrive on it. So give your body what it wants. Also, we are a darkness deprived society. So a lot of us are aware of the blue light and the damage that does to your sleeping patterns. But what a lot of us don't consider is we don't allow darkness enough. And so I would suggest dimming down all the lights everywhere in your house at least an hour before bedtime. And that's going to signal to your brain to start producing melatonin, that it's nighttime, that you need to calm down. And also have a nice bath, a nice warm bath, because like I was saying, your body needs to be cool to sleep. And so having a warm bath when you get out, that actually cools down your internal temperature. So yeah, those are the tips, like brain dumping all your worries.
I can
so
do
you're
that.
not
I can do that. I think that would be a really nice thing to do while walking.
Please try and
Yeah,
do that and let me know how
I
you get
will.
on. Same go to bed, same wake up time, cool bedroom, natural fibers on your body, and then darkness an hour before bed, at least.
Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing those tips. I will be trying them. I'll sort of let you know how I get on. And
Yay!
if you're
Let me
listening
know
and
how you
you're
get
trying
on.
them as well, let us know how you've got on, because I'd be really interested to find out. And you can find Alex on Instagram, as well as her personal page. You can find her as the Sleep Mummy, so you can get more tips on a regular basis. We could talk for hours, Alex. I really
God, I could literally talk to you all night. I love talking to you, but I'm going to get to
You
see
are,
you
you
again
are.
next
So
week.
for listeners, I am working in Athens next week, so I'm going to be able to finally meet
Yeah.
Alex in person. I can't wait. Thank you so much for sharing your story with so much honesty. I really appreciate it because I think it takes bravery and courage to do what you're doing. But I know how many women you're helping, and it's just fabulous. So thank you so much for being you because you really make a
Thank
difference.
you. I have loved talking to you. I really, really have. Thank you so
My last two
much.
questions that I ask all my guests: if you were to pay yourself a compliment, what would it be?
Ooh, I if I was to pay myself a compliment, I would say that I trust myself now. I spent so many years letting myself down, and now whatever I say I'm going to do, I didn't do it to other people. I never let other people down. It was me. It was me. But now I trust myself.
Love that. And what does free to be mean to you?
Free to be means just having the courage to um let go of all expectations and just do and be you.
Thank you so much. You are a gorgeous person inside out. I can't wait to see you
So are you,
soon.
Rachel.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank
So much to unpack there from talking to Alex. She's just one of those people that has really inspired me through social media and everything that she's doing to help other women. And what honesty, and it's really is humbling that she is so open with everybody about the struggles that she's faced. And I know that lots of people will be able to relate to that in their own way. And hopefully that has inspired you and also encouraged you to be a bit kinder to yourself, whatever you're going through right now, because we are all so hard on ourselves, and we need to start being kinder and learn to take a beat and listen to ourselves and to trust ourselves. So I love talking to Alex, and we'll be taking away those sleep tips, that's for sure, because sleep is a massive issue for me, or should I say lack of it. So I'll let you know how I get on with that. And as Alex said, I'll be meeting her next week, so I shall share some pictures on Instagram and let you know how we get on. But I can't wait to meet her in person. Don't forget, I will be back with another fabulous guest next week. Don't forget to share, like, subscribe to the podcast. And if you are wanting to be part of a community of like minded women, then why not come and join my free Facebook group, the Liberty Lifestyle Hub? I'll share the links in the notes. We've got 320 women in there now. And with no big agenda, we are just there supporting one another, sharing our lives, sharing the highs and the lows. And I love this safe space that we've created. So if you'd like to join, come and join us. It's free. It's a private group, and I will leave the links in the show notes. In the meantime, I'll be back soon, but keep being fabulous. Thank you so much for listening to Liberty Free to Be, and I hope you've enjoyed this week's episode. If it spoke to you, please don't forget to follow, leave a review, and share with somebody who might need a reminder that they are free to be themselves. You can find me on Instagram at RachelCrew1, and don't forget to follow our growing swimwear brand community over at Liberty Free to Be. If you'd like even more connection and conversation, come and join our free Facebook group, the Liberty Lifestyle Hub, where over 300 women are cheering each other on every single day. Until next time, keep being fabulous.